This is my audience.
Hey.
Unsafe storage and handling are key contributors to accidental gun deaths and injuries, particularly among vulnerable populations like children. A study published in the Journal of Pediatrics regarding adult firearm storage practices found that over 1.69 million American children and minors are living in homes with loaded and unlocked firearms. So I want to talk a little bit about gun safety. We'll go over the four big cardinal rules of gun safety, and then we'll talk a little bit about storage of firearms. So rule number one, always treat every gun as if it's loaded. Number two, never point a firearm at anything you're not willing to destroy. Number three, always keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on target and you're intending to shoot. Number four, always know your target and what's beyond it. And I'll cover each one a little more in detail. So treat every gun as if it was loaded. Always, no matter what, you always, if a gun is loaded, you would never point it at anybody. You would never put your finger on the trigger in case it accidentally went off, and you wouldn't want to shoot anything you're not willing to destroy, which is rule number two. So even if, let's say, a friend of yours passes you a firearm that you're just, hey, check this out. So he takes the magazine out and he clears the weapon and he shows you it's all safe, you still wouldn't point it at anybody because guns are not toys and don't treat it as such. Number two, never point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy. And I say destroy because a bullet is for keeps. If you, let's say, are holding your firearm and you have it pointed at your hand and it accidentally goes off, your hand will probably be destroyed. So be very conscious of where you're pointing your firearm at all times. Number three, always keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on target and you're intending to shoot. Another phrase that I like is keep your booger hook off the bang switch, because kids think it's funny, and what kids think is funny, they remember. So every time you're holding a firearm, whether you take it out of a holster, your finger should always be along the slide. I can kind of show this. I have this one here. This is my prop for later, but as you're holding one, should always go along the slide, never on the trigger. And it's going to be a tough, it's a hard habit to break, because as you're a kid and you play with fake toys and Nerf guns and all that kind of stuff, it's common for them to always have their finger on the trigger. So as you grow up, you need to be very conscious of where your finger is at all times. Number four, always know your target and what is beyond it. If you are at a legit range, you shouldn't really have to worry about it because you'll have nice backstops. But if you're just out in the backyard and you're shooting at cans or whatever, you always got to know what's behind it. Is there houses back there? Usually there are. So if you shoot high and it goes up, what goes up must come down, and you don't want to hit a house and potentially hit somebody else, because if you kill somebody, now you're looking at like involuntary manslaughter. So always be aware. You are responsible for every single round that comes out of your firearm. Other precautions, ear protection, eye protection. Always know what kind of ammunition your firearm takes. You don't want to put the wrong ammunition, or your firearm could blow up in your hands, and that would be very bad. So then let's just go over storage here. I got a couple of different things, talking about like lock boxes, and then I got a big hard case for rifles. Probably what the best thing would be is if you had a gun vault, which I think everybody kind of knows what that is. I don't have one for display, but it's the big, huge cabinet kind of things that you can fit your rifles, pistols, ammunition all in one box. I just have little individual ones. This is just a little one that opens up, put the gun in there. It even has a cable that you can lock in your car. You would put it around the frame and then it would lock, and it just has a little tumbler. Another box that I have is another one that has a couple of push button things, and then it opens up. Okay, wrong code. Still wrong code, I think. Pops open, then you would access it, and you just shut it, that's it. Other than that, we got the big hard cases that you would lock your rifles, and there is a lock on it, so that then you would have your key. And then other locks we have is, this is a big lock. It's a cable that goes through the gun, out the barrel, and then it locks. So your gun cannot function, the slide won't go. Another one would be trigger locks, where it would go in between your trigger and it would cover the trigger, so you can't pull the trigger. So that is a couple of the locks and storage. So if everybody could just give these rules some serious considerations and teach their children, even if there isn't a gun in the house, I think that every kid should be taught these 4 basic firearm rules, because even if your kid goes to a friend's house, their parents might have guns there. So I think it's a good practice to teach your kids. I think if everybody did this, the number of accidents would go way down. Thank you.